Hello, once again, we are back with another Toy Tirade episode. We've got another model from Maisto, except I decided, why don't we take something decent from Maisto and replace it with something great from Maisto. And what we have here is a 1/18th scale, 2003 Dodge Viper SRT10, and funnily enough, I have a 1/24th scale version of this car as well. Straight away, there are way less panel gaps, especially where the headlight is, and that, well, I need to turn it. And there's a pretty obvious reason for that. You want to know what the reason is? It's not a clamshell hood. It's got an alligator-style hood like this, see? Which means there's not as many panel gaps. But even where the hood lies, it's almost a seamless gap between the hood and the bumper, and that makes it look so much better than the other one where it's a clear panel gap that almost looks like it passed through quality control or something, even though it's a fault. Even the trunk has a really nice panel gap, or has a really nice lack of there being a panel gap. The only thing I can see is that where the taillight is, there is, I want to say, a little bit of a discrepancy in the trunk, but you know what, it's really not that bad at all. And it only seems to be on the right side a little bit. So, your model may vary, especially if your child's been playing with it. But then we go to the interior, and you know what? Custom gauges. That's right. It's not just some unified, oh, we'll take it from one of our other models and slap it onto this one gauge. They actually bothered to make gauges for every single little hole in it. They made the specific gauges that the Viper has, so it's not something that you can find on any other model that I know of, which is nice, which is high quality. And then you look at the front bumper, and you see, this is what I was talking about. Even though it's blocked off by the radiator, which I guess it means it's not really blocked off per se, they put it way past the crosshair, making it have some depth to it, making it look real. I think that was either someone else or the wind, but anyway, and that just gives it a much more high quality look to it than just, oh well, stick a bit of plastic in the bumper and then shape it around a little bit. But even the headlights here, the headlights look a lot closer to the actual Viper than that of the Gen 5. So overall, this is just a way nicer model, though that's not to say there aren't, let's say, mistakes here and there. This little, oh, let me open the door to show you. Okay, there we go. That little triangular thing, close the door. I need to turn it the other way. It doesn't actually line up with the window, with the window, as well as in the Gen 5. So there is a considerable gap there. But you know what, as far as I can tell, there isn't that much, and even the brake discs look better on this model than that of the Gen 5 over there. And this model just has so many, its quality is on a higher level than that of the Gen 5, which is a shame and ironic because both come from the same company. And so it makes you wonder, why is there such a big gap in quality between these two models? I mean, it should be the same, right? And of course the seats, very 03 Viper-like, and even the exhaust ports. Now, those are, they're about the same quality as they are in the Gen 5. A little bit better, probably because it's a little bit less complicated. But the wheels, they look just as good as they do on the Gen 5. Now, my model, the right rear tire kind of turns a little bit like it's got four-wheel steering or something, but again, your results may vary. Yours might have a tighter wheel, yours might have a wheel that's not as tight, might be even less tight than mine. But you'll know when you get it. But then you have the little vent here. I'm gonna have to pull this back a little bit. Now, of course, because there's no clamshell hood, that the top part doesn't move, but that little seal right there, that little ridge, I guess you could say, again, it's a much smaller, you can tell there's a difference between that part in the sill / vent, but it's not as prominent. It's not as easy to tell. And that gives this car a much better look. Now, the paint? The thing, I guess, about black is that this paint is about as flat as the Gen 5, okay? It's not metallic or anything, it's just paint. But because it's black, it's a lot more reflective, giving it a nicer look. And because I just polished this, because it had a little bit of dust, that may be a contributing factor. I don't want to say right now. I'd have to polish the Gen 5 for a few seconds and see what that does, especially on the hood, because the hood here, that just looks beautiful. There's even an Easter egg here where you can see the Viper's logo on the underside of the hood, and that might have been just an Easter egg of the time, but it's a nice touch. And that they didn't actually have to do that. They did not have to do that, because some people would notice, there's some people wouldn't, but that's not something everyone's gonna look at. That's not something everyone's gonna see every time they mess with the model. So the fact that with this model they went to such lengths to give all that detail just shows this is on another level. I mean, still, the tires just as nice on the other car, or sorry, just as nice on here as they were on the other car. No difference whatsoever. But ooh, sorry. So this is what Maisto can do. This is what Maisto should do all the time, but why there's a discrepancy, I don't know. But you know what? I'd have to give this 4 out of 5. It's actually a really, really good model, except that little triangular thing not going to the window here is a bit annoying to me. And some of that little weirdness in the trunk is also fairly annoying. But, oh, right, before I conclude, look. The rear diffuser, it's also deep. Again, this just proves that this is what Maisto should be doing, and why there'd be a discrepancy in any of their models is ridiculous. Because if you could do this all the time, why wouldn't you do it all the time? And I get that, you know, the accidents happen and whatever, but the Gen 5 does not look like an accident. It looks like something that happens all the time. It looks like that's their standard for that car, whereas the standard for this car is on another level, and I simply do not get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But, you know, I'd have to give this 4 out of 5, because I know that there is like a $200 model out there that's better quality than this, but we'll say it like this. In comparison to other models, it's 4 out of 5. But for a children's model that you can get without breaking the bank, it's 5 out of 5. It's one of the best models you can get out there of this car. It's really that good.